Aloha golfers! Welcome to Golf in the Cosmos, episode number 23. I'm Kevin Robovsky, and here we talk all things McElgrady and Morad. Today's episode will include a very unusual video, even for McElgrady and Morad followers. This is not my video. I didn't take it. I wasn't present there. But this video is floating around with many students. And despite its peculiar atmosphere, there is a wealth of knowledge in this video. And it's a part one of two series. And it's McElgrady with a person named Steve Erickson, who is an amateur, a good player, definitely a follower of Mac, a student of Mac, and I believe this video is taken after the first round of a PGA Tour event where Steve might have even caddied for Mac. Either caddied or he watched inside the ropes closely, because Steve has some interesting commentary as well as some very poignant questions to Mac, and the answers are very insightful. And because they're so insightful, I want to show this video publicly. And this may not be, maybe it's a little embarrassing for Mac, because Mac and Steve are discussing the swing in the hotel room after the round, and Mac has just taken a shower and he's just has a towel around his waist, and he starts to go into the golf swing, and but the information is so good that I think it's very worthwhile, and it's not that odd. In fact, Mac and myself, after several rounds, and even teaching seminars and the golf schools, we would spend the evenings in his hotel room going over the information and what went right, what went wrong. So it's not that unusual. The topics covered today have some very unique elements to it. And again, this is what makes sharing the video so important. This was an era where Mac was 1993, and he was maybe experimenting with a narrow stance with all clubs. So I'll talk to Steve about having an 8 to 10 inch wide stance from heel to heel. Now, he will always use a narrow stance with the shorter clubs, and in the 86 Morad method, his stance got increasingly wider as the club got longer. But in this era, in this particular time frame, Mac is using a narrow stance with all clubs. And he came to the Sony Open, perhaps it was 94, and he advocated that to myself as well when he came to Hawaii and did the qualifying for the Sony Open. This was one of the changes that he was experimenting with. I have used this narrow stance methodology a lot, and it does work quite well, and especially in windy conditions, which we have here in Hawaii. And it keeps the ball flight low and penetrating. So, the trade-off, of course, is you're going to lose some distance, especially with the driver. You're going to lose some height and some carry yardage. So these are all things that you have to consider. If you're a golfer looking to get more distance, probably not the best thing to do to narrow your stance, but to hit the ball more solidly and more consistently, it's a very good thing. So basically, Max is advocating your feet a little duck-footed, and about 8 to 10 inches apart from heel to heel. And so Mac will go into a little bit more detail about that. Mac is also talking to Steve about the strong grip. And here he's advocating strong grip and a flat left wrist. So that's kind of interesting, right? Because if you get your hand rotated over here 45 degrees and then flatten your left wrist, it tends to close the club face. So we've seen this, I've experienced this with some students of late Morad. They advocate the 45-degree rotation of the left hand, strong left hand grip, and then at the top, and also flatten the left wrist on top of it, and it gets the club face in a more shut position. So the early Morad version was you use a strong grip and then you dorsiflex the left wrist. So that neutralizes the club face. So that was a little different sort of spin on things in this video. Another interesting point in this video is Mac will talk about and validate his rounded back posture. So if you look at Mac in the 80s, he'll have his shoulders pinched inward, and he'll have a little more roundedness to the back. And he explains that that stretches the muscles across the trapezius and allows those shoulders to rotate, more freely on its plane. And I think there's some truth to that. I think what Mac very accurately describes in this video, if you stick your butt out too much and you have this anterior pelvic tilt, which is this direction, right? And you get what might be called S posture, or even a little bit, working in this direction, right? So from this angle with the shoulders back and the S posture spine, as I turn, two things can happen. One is I kind of almost lean to my left, and the second is my left shoulder will raise. So that's a little bit conducive to the posture. And so that's kind of some of the reasoning why Mac had preferred a rounded back at address, at least in most of his playing career. So I thought that point was extremely interesting. And Mac goes on to explain a lot of other very valid points here. And again, like I said, this is part one of 2 videos, and part 2 I'll show next week if YouTube allows it, if Mac allows it. So hopefully this is not, I don't think this is that embarrassing at all. But like I said, the information is fantastic, and it's helped me a lot through the ages, especially when there's been periods when I felt a little lost. This video has been my go-to. So please enjoy it, and press like, plus subscribe if you can. If you enjoyed this series, recommend it, and don't hesitate to comment or email. I probably won't get back to a phone call, but definitely I return emails. So enjoy, aloha, and we'll see you all next week. Bye for now.
The right hand also, and watching your grip today, and on your left hand grip, and also your right hand must be further up the shaft this way, because I can barely barely see the thumb. Yeah. Okay. So, and it looks like you over forward more here and on this side of the grip.
Yes, right side.
Huh?
Yep.
So it's that far over?
45, at least minimum 45 degrees. So this is straight.
Yeah.
That's 90 degrees. Half of that's 45.
So
So if you have it straight like this,
yeah.
and if you go like 90 degrees, your thumb would be 100% on this side of the shaft, right?
Yeah.
So it's brought up, it's kind of 45.
45-degree angle up there.
Right.
And then this is just over there more.
Yeah, and this is extended down the shaft, in that shaft.
And this goes down the shaft more. So
The reason why this is down the shaft is so that when you have to make any little hold on for a cut or something, you got the pressure, this is extended to hold the club face, if you gotta open it or turn it over, right?
Yeah.
This goes this way here like this, tendency is the thumb gets down the shaft like this, it gets the wrist more uncut.
It's 45.
Index.
That's an inch for very
Yeah,
area. So.
about an inch.
And so then this is up more this way, so I can barely see the thumb.
Farther up, move the index finger farther up. Right.
But then the hand is up this way though.
No, still your palm is in on top of the left thumb.
Yeah.
This has to close up. This area there has to close up. Off to the side there.
That's off to the side and closed up a little bit.
So if you look at your left thumb, it's almost at a 45-degree angle. That's like
On the right thumb.
what?
On the right thumb?
Right. Yeah. Did I say left?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's late at night.
Okay. Okay. Let me see, the next question I had is in the setup. You know, I look at you from this angle, okay? You know, while you bent over this way?
Yeah.
I always save room between here and here. And I've been trying to get down where I'm
Close.
too close in here. So I hit my weight, I'm too much bent here, or out too much from my toes, or I'm not bending enough from here somehow. I don't get that space, I see
See, I press my chest that direction.
that way.
Right. Now there's your space. Now press your chest forward. So when your chest goes forward, watch. If you line this up, if you get your chest forward,
Yeah,
you stick your tailbone out,
yeah.
okay? And if you take your hands down the line like this, you're gonna have reverse pivot. That's what Mark Alcavecchia said.
Right.
The chest is forward like this here, then it goes like that way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the chest goes the other direction like this, here you're stretching your shoulder blade outward like this. So between your left shoulder and right shoulder, the muscles across the trapezius are stretched at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then from your lower part of the back, lumbar to the cervical spine,
Mm-hmm.
it's rotated that direction.
So you're just pressing your chest backwards.
It goes that way, the other direction. So that's why if you see me, I look like this, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay? I go over here like this. Now, if I'm hitting wet shots around the veins, yeah, like that. This will back just a hair like this. And that stretch around there is maintained as addressed.
Yeah.
As you go up to the top, it's trying to maintain so that when you come back, you're right there again. If I have wet shots around the veins, lobby shots, bunker shots, stuff,
Mm-hmm.
then my chest goes forward like this.
Okay.
Take it over. It's like this. That way I have issues with my arms.
Yeah.
Because if my chest is forward, I can't pivot.
Uh-huh.
I go like this, it's easy to turn my shoulders 90 degrees.
Okay.
It's like Sevi. Sevi, he'll get in here like this,
Yeah.
P1 to P2, and he'll go. His shoulder goes at P2, his hands go down the line like this, he've already turned 90 degrees. It's just like this.
Yeah.
Okay?
That just is going back that.
Yeah, well, look at this. Look how much my shoulder joints are out
Yeah.
versus here like this.
Uh-huh.
The humerus bones from the elbow to the shoulder, you're directly underneath the shoulder joint. Turn here like this, look.
Yeah.
Here's the vertical axis.
Yeah.
Here, now if I'm hitting wet lobby shots around the green like this, I make sure that my chest stays out. That way, then I have to use my arms. Now a lot of guys, when they look to play, you got the tailbone out like this, you got the chest forward, you see them take it up, and it's almost like a reverse pivot.
Right. Right. That's how you get your, with these coming out here, that's how you get this 90-degree angle here.
So I did, now that's how, aim that direction again. And this way, when you go P1 to P2,
Yeah.
and you have this stretch, this plane and that plane, you just maintain it, it's really easy to turn.
Yeah.
Do it right now, aim this direction,
In this
and just use your arms, right? Okay. Now take your two shoulder joints and move them a little closer to this one. Okay, right, that's perfect.
Closer together?
Yeah, this one, yeah.
That
Right.
way.
Not your elbows, just your shoulder joints.
Okay.
All right, now pivot if you want to come a little closer this way. All right, make sure your hands go inside. See, your shoulders are already turned. By the time you're at P2 now, they're already on 90 degrees.
That's just because they're more,
Oh yeah.
brings more this way.
Yep. You're gonna try to get your shoulder joints like this,
And pressed in, but the arms
Yeah,
are,
I know.
the arms are loose.
but the elbows stay out. Soft. See, you see how rounded it gets to the back and everything else?
Right.
So then all you're doing is you just stay here like this, you just maintain the stretch, and you come right back with your back and torso to number one. If you're over here like this, you go on back this way, how are you gonna get back on down? Can't. So the thing is, when you hit lob shots around the greens, or little pitch shots, 7-iron like this, chest goes forward and you're going this way. See, another way you can take a 7-iron or 8-iron.
That's why I hit it so high all the time anyway.
What?
That's why I hit it high all the time anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, you can take a 7-8-iron like this and move your chest forward and get your arms off to your side like this and just go that way too. So he does that. So, you notice a couple, if I take an 8-iron and I want to run it across the green sometimes, I'll take a real weak right hand grip like this. An 8-iron, real weak, like on top here. And it's just smooth like this. So there's no flippy, no jerky, nothing. If you feel sometimes your right hand goes off, it's a real, like the, what was it, that one, second to last hole, 8th hole today, first round? I had to go down the hill and up the hill and down the hill again, right? And the ball was kind of sitting, finding the kind of the long grass. I took out 8-iron, I put my right hand on top like this. And then all I did was just to pivot this way. I didn't want to have any kind of little, okay? And even if the grass caught in the grass, if I just use my wrist, it stops. But if I drag it through with my body, at least I'll get it out somewhere to the hill.
Keeps on going.
Yeah, there's a difference. It's a difference if you go like this versus here, then the body goes this way. At least, I don't care if I hit it fat behind the thing, it's at least it's going to shove the ball out there. See? These are all the little perks and quirks that everybody uses somewhere to make some of the little adjustments.
Okay, the next thing is the stance. I mean, noticing you today in particular, watching your stance, all the shots. I mean, I get so wide. When I'm hitting 8-irons in the state I was going to show you,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting like this. I'm hitting wedges like this. I mean, it looks to me like you're.
Yeah, here, if you line up with your stance 14 inches, then you're basically, as a general rule, stand up again.
Okay.
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 Well, move it 12 inches apart.
This is about 12.
Put your stance 12 inches.
That's about 12, I would say.
12 inches.
Yeah.
That's 18. Oh, that's 16.
Okay, where 12 between where and where?
From your left foot and your right foot.
Okay.
Heel to heel, heel to heel. 12 inches.
Okay.
Okay. Now if you look at here like this, look how your knee is inside your ankle here like this, right? And your right knee same way, right? And now bow your knees out. Okay. Now you almost have your ankle joint, your knee joint, and your hip joint right here, and your shoulder joint all lined up straight line. All right.
Okay.
So this is like this, and here your your ankle. Here's 12. Here you go. Here's your ankles, your knees, hip joints are lined up, you're bowed outward. Here everything is tight and stretched. Your chest, your shoulder joints are out. They're trying to be compressed together. You're going over here like this, and all you can do is just turn your shoulders, and you feel the real stretch in your.
Is that about how wide you are for your driver's stance?
About 14 inches.
So set your driver's stance once like you're doing today.
About right there. You see Jody Muddy.
Yeah, I know, I've seen that.
Hey, Jody said it 8 inches.
Yeah.
I played, I swear to you, some of the best golf. My stance was no more, you ready?
Yeah.
8 inches apart. You know why? You can't move on it. You have to rotate.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
You have to rotate. Your hip gears and your shoulder joints,
Yeah.
if you look at them like gears, they have to rotate together.
What I was thinking after watching you today in particular, so it's just about.
Now put the same measurement, measure the same distance, excuse me, measure the distance between your 2 feet right now. Okay, now put it on both knee joints. Okay, Okay, now put in your shoulder joint. Put in your shoulder joint. Here and there, look, it's almost.
Inside, almost perfect.
So this way, then you keep your, do it one more time. Okay. Measure the distance between the feet. No, the inside. You got over right.
No, I'm looking at the inside here.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, and your knees. All right inside of your knees. Okay.
Hips.
Yeah, but your hips are a little bit narrow, but your shoulder joints, you see, it's almost. Here's your left shoulder joint, right here, and here's your right shoulder joint.
Perfect.
So you get this almost lined up in a straight line.
Yeah.
So now you're going to try to rotate.
Right.
And try it without, just without the glove, right? The more you get your shoulder joints out, right?
Yeah.
The more you get your shoulder joints out,
Of that one close
Right.
together.
and then go inward and then go upward also. Watch what happens to your left shoulder. Okay. And one more time. Good. Now go ahead. One more time. Keep your knee more. Pull your right knee out more. Okay, just keep it there. Just turn your shoulders. Good. And now see your left shoulder stop. Your arms going independent.
Yeah. That's the biggest problem I have. I'm so tight in here.
Yeah. This is why you have to. There's certain flexibility exercises you can do on the outside of the legs. You can go down the front of the leg,
Yeah.
this plane like here.
Yeah.
You can go the hamstrings on the side
Right.
and in the back.
Right.
Then you have to get stretched out on the side.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the things you can do is a health club. I know the goal is to have this one thing where you put your feet up at an angle like this, and you lean sideways like this,
Okay.
like A, right?
Right.
I've shown this before. If I do that, I'm maybe 6-7 inches,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In other words, you would be at, your legs are at a 45-degree angle like this.
Right.
You lean sideways.
Yeah.
So as you lean this way, your hands coming down here, you'll start to stretch all of this out, especially like in your hip joints. And those muscles, they will start stretching. Now, if you do that 28 days of yoga stuff,
Yeah.
that will stretch it out, especially if you go this way.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna start to get.
What?
I'm gonna keep on stretching.
Yeah.
But what I was thinking though, after watching you today and watching myself, when I'm sitting out here like this, okay, in all these shots, I mean, one, if I'm gonna turn my shoulders, I mean, it's hard to keep with that wide a stance. It's hard to keep the head really there.
Yeah. Well, if you do it one more time, if you have a wide stance like this.
Yeah.
Okay, now, one time, try to lower your left shoulder as low as you can get it to
Yeah.
keep your left knee and your left hip stationary. Okay. All right. Yeah, but keep your head tilted slightly. Okay, now do the same thing. Okay, keep your left shoulder going. Okay, see how it's not good. All right. Okay, one more time. One more time. Okay, one more time. Okay, see how your left knee is moving? Don't move your left knee.
For some reason, whenever I start moving this,
Yeah, no,
that wants to go.
see, set up one more time. See, this is where there's a, set up again. This is where there's a stretching, go ahead. There's a stretching that has to go on here like this. One more time. Going like this. See, your right shoulder, watch, your right shoulder when you sit up here, excuse me. When your right shoulder here, you've got to sit here and start to get this right shoulder to keep going back around you this way.
Yeah.
See, like right here? If I put your hand right over right here, right, a straight line like this, okay? Right, I'm playing that. This is just left of my spine,
Okay.
okay? See how my right shoulder will move almost to that point?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, okay, come on. See how it keeps moving here like this?
Right.
Okay, what you're doing, see, you go ahead,
Yeah. I know.
okay?
Yeah.
Now, if I do it left-handed, if I sit in here like this, left-handed, there's where you are, like this.
Yeah.
Okay, like this, right?
Uh-huh.
I didn't pivot here. I didn't move my left knee or my left hip, right? Now this time I'm going to straighten out my left leg and do the exact same thing. Look how my left shoulder gets back in your left hand. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to set this up. I'm just going to straighten out close my stance a couple inches.
Okay.
And then straighten out my left leg in the backswing.
Yeah.
See See how the left shoulder kept swiveling? Okay, now if you set it again here. Okay,
Well, the wide, regular stance, the wide stance.
you do either one.
If I want to move it narrower, just, I'm going to work on that.
Good. Go ahead.
Okay.
Now just straighten out your right leg in the backswing and lower your left shoulder as much as you can. Keep going. See, now we can see your shoulder blade. Now if you, let's say if you were to go out 200 balls a day,
Yeah.
on this one drill, just straighten your right leg out,
Yeah.
lower your left shoulder as much as you can, and you don't care what the ball goes.
Yeah.
You don't care. All you're caring is about stretching yourself out.
I was hitting balls on my range on Sunday. I just didn't care where it went.
Yeah.
And I was,
See, this is the thing that the computer would do for an individual. Say,
yeah.
Steve Erickson, you have to start getting a shoulder turn.
What,
So the first thing we're going to do is
Yeah.
have you come in this studio.
Yeah. Go through the
And-
exercises.
What?
Go through the exercises.
Yeah, we'll have you set up here, and you're going to hit 500 balls in this net.
Yeah.
And while you do it, you're going to have to straighten out your right leg
Yeah.
and lower your left shoulder as much as you can. Ready? Go ahead and try it. You hit another one. Now the computer will document every shoulder turn.
Yeah.
And then say, okay, this time you're only going to flex your, you're going to keep your knee 5 degrees flexed when you're at the top of the swing.
Yeah.
See if you can still maintain the same shoulder turn. Now the muscles will start to stretch out that way.
Right. See, I think when I was so wide, and I'm trying to straighten that right leg,
Yeah.
again, I think because it sort of throw me that way. But if I get more in here, it seems easier to really to straighten the knee because you're just over it. And what I was doing on the follow through.
Yeah, as a general rule, the wider you get your stance,
Yeah.
it's going to start restricting your pivot of your hips unless you take your left heel off the ground.
Yeah. What I was saying then on the follow through now, when I was getting that thing dead straight, but I couldn't. I had the weight back here too much, and I think I was too much this way. You know, it was too much.
Well, you can be like that, but you have to get off, come up on your right toe.
Yeah.
All right, put your knees closer together. Okay.
Well, see, my stance was so wide I couldn't get it together, so I was saying.
Yeah, you can't.
No,
The stance is too wide, you can't get your knees
I had a
together.
couple wedges, and I just happened to be real narrow. And I could get it straight, and I could feel
Yeah, upward, the upward.
upward.
That's the advantage where it's less strain on the hips. The hips cannot slide as much the narrower your
Right.
stance.
Yeah, but it looked to me though, again, you know, if your stance was this way in the driver, when you're in these 6 irons, 7 irons, 8 irons, you're about like that.
Exactly. Jody, same way.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's just ballistic. I mean, you just,
I
you're
know.
gonna drive it.
Yeah.
The only thing is you can't slide, the more narrow your stance get,
Uh-huh.
the less you can slide your hips,
Yeah,
and that forces your left knee to straighten out
yeah,
to keep the pivot rotation going.
right.
If your knees drive like this, if
Yeah.
your stance is very close, and you roll up to the outside of your left foot,
Yeah,
and that causes too much,
yeah.
it gets more linear versus more circular.
Right. The other thing, then talking about what you're talking about today in this backswing,
Oh, yeah?
because I think I'm always getting the club going that way.
Yeah.
But if you're strong grip, and then from
You want me to give it 8 iron out of my bed? Let me do that. I'm going to take 10 seconds here. How about a 6 iron?
dehydrated, I'm not walking.
What?
I'm dehydrated still.
Oh, really?
I didn't get any water out there today. A couple times, not much. Okay, anyways, if I get a real, I got the grip at 45 and this one. Now you were saying that just from there, it's just going. See, I think I'm tendency going that way in the thing, which is to me opening it up. So you're saying here it's pretty set and it's going.
You're just trying to flex the back of your right wrist. It's 20 degrees at a desk, dress, but then by the time you get in there, it's about 45, 50 degrees, and then as you keep going up to P3, the back of the right wrist will flex almost 85 degrees.
Now is that 20 or is that not
That's
flexible?
about right here. Yeah, that's about 20 degrees.
And then-
About 12. Set it again.
Okay.
Keep it right here like this.
Uh-huh.
Now watch. This angle, this would be flat like the A.
Mhm.
Turn on so the camera can see. if your hands forward, slightly forward pressed like this, okay? But let me hold the club here, and let's say you take your right hand off the club, and pretend, take your left hand too, and let's say you put your right hand just like this at the address position. Okay, and put your left hand again like you're in the address, right? Okay. You can take this away, but keep that there. Okay. This would be flat, right here like this. That's about 20 degrees. That's 85 degrees right there. You can go 85 degrees.
So from here to address, he was trying to.
P2, it can go as little as 40 degrees and then as much as 80 degrees.
So it's just bending back that way.
Right, and then from there,
Then it just rotates.
it just rotate.
Yeah. So that's basically what you're saying. Is from there.
Here, and then you have your plane line down here. By the way, can we see it? Can you see all this here?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't know if I can or not, to tell you the truth.
Now from there, have the bottom of the club trace the plane line. Keep pivoting, because it's perfect. So you got, here you got your hands outside your right shoulder, left arm's parallel to shoulders. Say right angle.
Has to always be there. When Greg Hood first met me.
Say it again?
When Greg Hood first met me,
Yeah,
has to always be there.
used to be flat.
Yeah, it was flat. I was hitting balls down at Edwards Field. He was a junior in high school. I was a freshman, first year law student at Berkeley. Went down to this practice football field. I'm in 4 years. About 210 yards, just 250, just killing
Oh,
him.
8 irons.
Just killing him.
Yeah.
See, I didn't have the technique you had, obviously, but I could really my irons a long way. I had the driver a long way too.
Well, listen, if you were hitting 8 irons, let's say, just even if you hit them 155 yards,
Yeah.
Tennessee, you have to do this.
Yeah. I would hit, honest to God, I would hit with file like, and this is probably not necessarily good, but like 3 or 4 clubs longer with the irons than he would.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And if he's hitting a 4 and I'm hitting a 7 or 8 iron,
All right, what about now?
now we're about the same.
So see, if usually that's the case,
Yeah,
what happens is usually a guy's weak, grip has been, used to be strong,
yeah,
but weaker,
yeah.
and he's not de-lofting the club. Now, one way you de-loft the club is by forward pressing,
Right.
having no release.
Yeah,
And how do you do that?
yeah.
Is you have to set up a stronger grip, not in left wrist out the backswing. Okay?
It's just breaking down.
Yep.
See, that's what I'm always doing. I'm always hitting it, pushing it that way. So I'm rolling it as opposed to just breaking it.
And maybe you can sit here and close that thing 50 degrees and go on the downswing.
Yeah.
You can close that club face down 50 degrees.
The downswing this way,
No,
man.
no, yeah, right here at P2. Close it P2. 50 degrees. Now just keep pivoting. Keep it closed. Right? Left wrist flat, right?
Yeah, and just keep hitting down again.
Here, and then just shift. You can go down your original line or shift it out to the right with the gentleman was talking to them.
Yeah.
Because if you go like this, watch. If I take famous Chi-Chi driver here. I don't know if I can see this line there. But the shaft goes almost at right angles to my spine. As I come down here like this, I keep the hands forward pressed, here like this. Look at the path of the club and going across the line.
Right.
So you shift the plane line out to the right.
Right.
The more this is back, this is bent.
Yeah.
That's if the right shoulder stays back.
Yeah.
You can go like this,
Yeah.
all right, if the right shoulder stays back.
Yeah.
If the right shoulder is released forward like this, it brings the club left to impact like this. Casper and Trevino, when they both came into impact, they had a lot of torsion tilt number 2 to the right, and Trevino was coming up like this. But when he came to impact, he shifted the club off to the right. And Trevino always felt like he was trying to separate his arms from the top.
When you're hitting those, like at Somerset, that par 3, when you hit those 8, 9, and wedges,
Yeah.
you just close it down even more then to generate that
Yeah,
power.
a sharper angle of descent.
Uh-huh.
And the right shoulder is just absolutely driving the baby straight on back.
You're setting it right back in your stance up?
No, I kept saying, well, if you're going to hit the wedges farther, you have to.
Yeah.
But as a general rule, I can take a 6 iron and hit it low, low, medium, no, low, 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 medium, low, high.
Yeah.
High, low.
Yeah.
This is medium, low, medium, 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 high.
Yeah.
High, low, high, medium, high, high.
Yeah.
9 different trajectories with almost with the same voltage as the 6 iron. All I do is change how much my hands go outside and they go inside. As a general rule, if you're going to hit the wedges low like that, I mean a long distance, yeah, you have to put the ball back in the center.
It's just
And up and bang, like this.
more descending blow.
Yeah. But the shoulders have to keep rotating forward.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't take it up and just go. You can hit it a good distance if you're strong, but then, and the advantage for having a strong grip like this is that you can set it as such.
I want to make sure I got that grip in there as soon as it.
Are you there?
Oh yeah, it's in there.
What?
Yeah, it's there.
Right. The advantage with a strong grip is that you can take this, you just cock it right here like this, and come, bam, just right down on top of it.
Yeah.
You won't hurt your wrist, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I take those wedges or let's say those 6 irons I hit today, I punch under the trees, right?
Right.
On 18,
Yeah.
my grip has to get stronger.
Yeah.
Because as I take this baby up here like this, and I'm gonna come like that, to make sure I de-loft it up, put it under the tree.
Yeah.
And you notice the last 6 iron hit, I just got under the branch.
Right.
What?
Right.
It wasn't a foot below it, but
Right.
just enough.
Right.
If I hit it too low, I could hit it into the rough
Mhm.
too far short.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I had to hit it under the branch, but carry enough to get to the fairway.
Right.
Yeah. Now, this is where if I have this type of grip like this,
Mm-hmm.
where it's weak, a tendency this has to rotate, I can't knock that ball down.
Yeah.
If I try to go like this and come down this way, I'm gonna hurt my wrist too much with a weak grip. So here you are, you're searching for some explanations as to why did you play the way you did before at one time. How did you get the compression? How did you get the power? Now, remember, I went through periods where I lost all that distance.
Right.
I went to the weaker grip, club face opening.
Yeah.
I meant to show you some pictures I had in Asia in 1977. We see my neck tilts and my dorsal tilts,
Uh-huh.
my feet alignment, my knee alignment, everything else, right? It's identical to today, except there's one thing difference. I was playing with a real weak grip. My playing in my arms, my playing in the club shaft, and everything else, terrific. I played with a very weak grip. I couldn't hit it at all.
Does that grip look pretty good there?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
A little tighter in there.
Yeah. Now, if you go to P2 and fly down your left wrist, like this, and then just keep hitting. Yeah, see how your left knee's coming in
Yeah,
here
I
like
know
this?
this. I'm gonna have to work on that.
What?
I can't stop that.
Yeah, see,
Anatomically, I can't stop that right now.
I know. See, I would design a machine that you could set in here like this,
Yeah.
and you could only move a certain amount,
Yeah.
and then the other part, the upper part of the machine,
Yeah.
would just slowly keep moving your shoulder around, keep moving it around like this, keeping your left knee back.
So then I'm coming through from that position there. It's there. Then I'm just keeping that shoulder rotating through.
Yeah, just keep rotating.
Is that why your divots are always just askew?
Slightly left, yeah.
Slightly left.
Yeah, because that's a centripetal force action. You're going back to the incline plane.
Yeah.
You're going back into playing that way.
Right.
Now, that's where the guy said today, do you like it better that you feel that you're aggressive with your upper part of the body? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Versus where it's stationary,
Mm-hmm.
where it's not moving.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you hit the ball high, when you come to impact like this, you're going to have to back this baby up like this.
Right.
The other way with the trevino, you can come around like that.
Yeah.
But the key is, you can get away with that in some 2, 3, 4s, and 5 irons, but you get to those woods, you got to start backing up a little bit. The upper part of the body, sideways.
Is your bladed address? That's something I can't do. We get a ball up here. It bugs me. Oh.
What's today's date? Today's 7th of June, 1993. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What I don't do when I set up to it, I mean, I never, for some reason, I'm too fiddly now, but I never get